challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
All the local government councils that contributed their statutory allocation to this project never got the benefit.
Senate moves to investigate 400 billion naira primary healthcare projects.
Given the urgency of the request for amendments, I seek the cooperation of the National Assembly.
And Senate promises action on President Buhari's request of 2.55 trillion naira to fund petrol subsidy. Hello there and welcome to this episode of Inside the Senate. I am Hussaina Amina Abuki, your anchor. In 2006, the sum of 400 billion naira was allocated for the construction of primary healthcare centers in every local government area in Nigeria. The centers were not built. The Senate last week, where a motion is calling for an investigation into the matter. Details of this motion alongside other deliberations during plenary and in the committee room form our package this week. Stay tuned for details after this short break.
The Senate to send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that.
To raise a matter of urgent public importance.
And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up,
for a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Welcome back. The failure to actualize an initiative by the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2006 to deploy 400 billion naira for the construction of a 60-bed national primary healthcare center in each of the 774 local government areas of Nigeria was the subject of a motion sponsored by the chairman, Senate Committee on Health, on Wednesday, the 16th of February 2022. In the motion, which was titled, Need to Investigate the Abandoned 400 billion naira National Primary Healthcare Projects, the sponsor lamented that even when the funds for the project were sourced from the excess crude account and warehoused in the then Bank PHB, now Keystone Bank, not much progress has been recorded in the project.
The bill of quantities for the project was prepared by the then Federal Ministry of Works and Housing and approved by the Bureau of Public Procurement. Despite all those professional pre-contract activities, the contract for the execution of the project in the entire 774 local government area in the country was awarded to Messrs. Martins Nigeria Limited without any known tendering and selection process.
The motion attracted the following debates.
This project, even in the Senate, came up for hearing, and a lot of our members that time, and indeed the National Assembly, they were very worried. But unfortunately, all the local government councils that contributed their statutory allocation to this project never got the benefit. So, Mr. President, I think this is an opportunity for us to really look into this matter dispassionately and put the blame where it is.
in my own local government, it was built, and there was a time a trailer load of equipment and drugs was brought into the local government. In the middle of the night, everyone was woken up with cries of a fire incident where those equipments were to be dropped at that primary health center. By the time the fire would be put out in the morning, there was nothing to show that one equipment or a carton of Panadol was dropped at the center. And that is the situation till today.
Accordingly, the following resolutions were adopted. Mandate the Committee on Health and Primary Health and Communicable Diseases, Works and Housing to, amongst other things, determine the status of the 100% project funds warehoused with the then Bank PHB, now Keystone Bank, as well as determine the level of progress and status of the projects in each of the 774 local government areas, amongst others. Same day, Senator Abba Moro, under personal explanation, reported malicious attack by the people of Ohauku local government area of Ebonyi State on some of his constituents of Ado local government area of Benue South Senatorial District.
Mr. President, you will recall that in May 2021, I brought a motion of urgent national importance on the frequent attacks on my people, and only recently, 2 attacks were carried on the people of Eza, of Ado local government.
In his prayer, he urged the establishment of a military base in the affected place to secure his people and other Nigerians in the same situation. Related to this, on Tuesday the 15th of February 2022, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, under personal explanation, reported increased insecurity in his senatorial district of Niger State, adding that banditry, kidnapping and cattle rustling are being perpetrated by terrorists fleeing superior firepower of the Nigerian military in Zamfara, Sokoto and Katsina states.
The victims of this banditry and terrorism are mostly women and children, with over 300 persons said to be abducted or kidnapped by the bandits. As at the last count, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, over 2,000 cattle were rustled between Friday 11th February and Sunday 13th February.
As a resolution, therefore, he prayed the Senate to, amongst other things, urge the armed forces and other security agencies to block all escape routes used by bandits to infiltrate Niger State. Still at plenary for last week, the Senate received a letter from President Buhari seeking Senate's nod on the 2022 Appropriation Act Amendment Proposal 2022. For details of this, alongside other reports from plenary, let's take this report as compiled and presented from our studio.
Letter from Mr. President.
According to the letter, the amendment provides for a supplementary budget of an additional 2.557 trillion naira to the 2022 budget to fund the petrol subsidy in 2022. This followed the suspension of the removal of petrol subsidy, which gave rise to the revision of the 2022 budget framework.
Given the urgency of the request for amendments, I seek the cooperation of the National Assembly for expeditious legislative action on the 2022 Appropriation Amendment Proposal in order to sustain the gains of any passage of the budget. Please accept the distinguished Senate President the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
In the same vein, the President also sought Senate consideration of a bill to provide for the establishment of a Board of the Civil Defense, Federal Fire, Correctional, as well as Immigration Services Bill 2022.
To adequately reflect the current relationship between the board, corps, and the services and align their composition, structure, functions, and practices to attain the intended mandate of the services. While hoping that this submission will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept the distinguished Senate President the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
The debate on the bill for an act.
Several bills were presented for second reading in the week under review. One of them was the Federal College of Education, Okobo, Akwa Ibom State Establishment Bill 2022, sponsored by Senator Akon Eyakenyi.
We need to prepare for our future by training the trainers in education. This bill essentially seeks to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Okobo, Akwa Ibom State, to bridge the gap in teachers' training in the state and the country.
The bill was then read a second time and referred to the Committee on Third Fund to report back in 4 weeks. Another bill presented for second reading was the National Institute for Educational Planning and Administration Establishment Bill 2022, sponsored by Senator Ayo Akinyelure. According to the sponsor, the institute, which came into being in 1992, has conducted 310 training activities up till July 2019 for a total of over 104,000 participants, but without legislative backing.
The bill, if passed to law, will 1. Provide enabling legal and legislative instrument required in the strategic operation activities of NEPA. B. Improve the quality of educational training and research provided by NEPA. 3.
improve funding for the training of educational professionals. 4, bridge the manpower deficit being experienced in the education sector. And 5, provide employment and accelerate socio-economic development in the host community of the institute.
An institute like this could not have operated for 30 years, and yet is under the office of the head of service of the Federation. So it doesn't make really good sense.
Consequently, the bill scaled second reading and was referred to the Committee on Third Point to report back in 4 weeks. The Senate also considered the Bank's Employees Etc. Declaration of Assets Act 2004 Amendment Bill 2022, sponsored by Senator Sani Musa. The bill provides for the compliance with a 16th January 2021 directive of the EFCC that all categories of staff of financial institutions must declare their assets before the 1st of June 2021.
From the bank executives to cleaners, drivers, messengers, and the last person on their chain, whether in full or temporal appointments, and to monitor the financial activities of these officers to ensure that their lifestyle reflects their earnings and to discourage them from engaging in corrupt practices.
I think the direction of the bill should be how to capture the code of conduct of those in the financial sector by referring them to the institutions that we have in the financial and the corporate sector. And these institutions are the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Insurance Commission, the Pension Commission, Corporate Affairs Commission, and Exchange and Securities Commission.
The bill was read second time and referred to the Committee on Banking to report back in 4 weeks.
Those were some highlights from Senate plenary last week, when it starts on Tuesday 15th and Wednesday the 16th of February 2022. Let's now take a short break for the notebook segment. Don't go away.
Legislative lobbying is the art of influencing legislative decisions towards a policy. It is championed by a lawmaker or a group of lawmakers with a view to achieving positive objectives. It could also be undertaken by civil society organizations and other pressure groups to press home their interests and desires from legislators.
The only way out of the pandemic is for the population to observe the recommended measures advised by the NCDC, the Senate Committees on Health and Primary Health Care and Communicable Diseases will continue to engage with the Federal Ministry of Health and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19.
The program Inside the Senate continues with reports from the committee room, where the Senate President Ahmed Lawan commended his colleagues for sponsoring bills that seek to grow the nation's education processes to correct existing shortcomings. The report is compiled and presented from our studio.
I stand before you to stand in for the Senate President.
Senator Ahmed Lawan made the commendation at a public hearing on bills focusing on different areas of judicial, human rights and legal system organized by the Joint Senate Committee on Judiciary and Anti-Corruption on Wednesday, the 16th of February 2022. He was represented by the Deputy Senate Whip, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi.
The bills are from the lessons we have learned from implementation, aside from the realization of areas needing fresh attention. While some are therefore about amendments and improvement, others are new. Whether new or old, they are geared towards increasing the capacity of the justice system, which is the basis for the stabilization of our democracy, leading to good governance and progress.
On behalf of members of the Senate Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters.
Earlier in a welcome address, the committee chairman advocated more partnerships between all arms of government for the benefit of Nigerians.
One of the ways we can consolidate and entrench a deep democratic culture in this country is for all the arms of government to work together in harmony in order to engender peace and prosperity that will meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians.
Thank you, our chairman.
Some sponsors of the bills took turns to speak on them, starting with the Court of Appeal Act 2013 Amendment Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Chukwuka Utazi.
The main purpose of the bill is to amend the principal legislation with a view to increasing the number of justices of the Court of Appeal from 90 to 110.
The Witnesses Protection and Management Framework Establishment Bill 2022 was sponsored by Senator Suleiman Abdukari.
To successfully prosecute criminal cases in our courts today, witnesses have to be adequately protected against intimidation, harassment, and other forms of hostility. This bill, therefore, creates the funding and management framework to ensure that they are safe while bringing them to testify in court.
Also on the list of the bills considered during the hearing was the Abduction and Wrongful Restraint and Confinement for Ransom Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Ibikule Amosun. It seeks stiffer penalties for kidnappers.
Life imprisonment is proposed for the offense of kidnapping, particularly where death occurs as a result of the act. In addition, this bill equally seeks to ensure that recipients of any proceeds of the act of kidnapping are heavily sanctioned with term of imprisonment of up to 30 years.
Speaking on the Court of Appeal Act, representatives of the Army and Air Force observed that many judgments of court-martials are upturned by the Court of Appeal due to legal technicalities, thereby affecting military discipline, and suggested ways out.
The Nigerian Army further advocates for the appointment of retired service personnel from the legal services of the armed forces to the Court of Appeal to serve as assessors. This is very, very important because we have, like in the Sharia Court of Appeal, where the law is specialized, and so we need special people to interpret certain acts, certain provision of the act.
The continuous failure of judgments of court-martials at the Court of Appeal is capable of undermining the general discipline of personnel in the military. It is suggested that a retired military lawyer with requisite experience should be considered in the appointment as justices in the Court of Appeal. This will enable the court effectively handle court-martial cases on appeal.
The representative of the Navy on his part gave a suggestion on the Abduction for Ransom Bill.
It is suggested that the bill could make the negotiation or proposed payment of ransom to kidnappers or terrorists to secure release of hostages subject to the prior knowledge of the Office of the National Security Advisor, the armed forces, or the police for coordination. It is opined that subjecting such payment of ransom to security vetting and tracking is preferable to outright criminalization.
Other stakeholders at the hearing sought for more time to study the bills to enable them make informed and documented submissions to the committee.
Rights context.
At another committee room, on Tuesday, 15th of February 2022, the Senate President called on Nigerians to see themselves as stakeholders in the building of a viral institution like the Nigerian health sector.
I'm here this morning to deliver the remarks by the President of Senate.
Senator Ahmed Lawan made the call at the opening of a two-day public hearing organized by the Senate Committee on Tertiary Health on some health-related legislations. He was represented by the Deputy Senate Leader, Senator Ajayi Borofis.
What this tells us is that the path to growth and development is continuous, and it shows either in the areas of building a new institutional infrastructure or in the enhancement of existing ones. These endeavors are necessary in all climes, and even more so in a developing economy like ours.
One of the legislations at the hearing was a motion on the allegation of fake COVID-19 results being used to defraud Nigerians in Ghana and the obtainment of fake COVID-19 cards. The committee chairman in his speech sought clarification from the managers of the nation's COVID-19 protocols as well as other stakeholders on the matter.
We want
those that are charged with the management of our COVID-19 to be able to brief the committee on how robust the quality of the control measures they put in place for the COVID-19 testing, what are the monitoring mechanisms or systems to check results that are presented at our exit points, and given the current epidemiology, when are we as a country exiting COVID-19 as a pandemic and consider it as an epidemic?
The committee's vice chairman drew attention to the issue of funding new establishments.
Looking at the bills we are considering today, they are all talking about establishment of institutions. And we know that establishing institution is one thing, funding it is another. All the same, we are going to hear from you, and we are going to do that which we are supposed to do, but we should have that at the back of our minds, that it's better for us to establish good teaching hospitals rather than establishing health centers that are supposed to be teaching hospitals.
Other legislations were bills seeking the establishment of teaching hospitals in federal universities in Obokun, Osun State, sponsored by Senator Francis Fadaunsi, Patagi, Kwara State, sponsored by Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar, Akure, Ondo State, sponsored by Senator Ayo Akiyelure, Gusau, Zamfara State, sponsored by Senator Sahabi Ya'u, as well as Dus and Makasina State, sponsored by Senator Ahmad Babba Kaita. All who spoke were in support of the bills, while the representative of the Federal Ministry of Health, however, gave a contrary position.
In the interim, the recently approved Federal University of Health Sciences, Oturukpo, should be allowed to function as a litmus test. 2, the ministry acknowledges the good intention of this bill and will adapt its content to strengthen the existing medical schools across the country. Therefore, it is the ministry's considered view to rescind its commitments at this time and to allow the appropriate government MDAs to do so.
Other bills considered at the public hearing were Compulsory Treatment and Care for Victims of Gunshot Act 2017 Amendment Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Oluremi Tinubu. National Pediatric Center Yala, Cross River State Establishment Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Jarigbe Agom. Federal Eye Center Ochadamu, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator Jibrin Issa. Stakeholders from all walks of life, amongst them royal fathers who attended the hearing, were in full support of the bills.
Our profile segment is next. Stay tuned for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Issa Shoaibullah is the new Deputy Minority Leader of the Senate. He assumed the position on Tuesday, the 8th of February 2022, following the defection of the then Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Emmanuel Bwacha, from PDP to APC. Senator Shoaibullah represents Taraba North Senatorial District. He attended LEA Primary School Law in Taraba State from 1969 to 1975 for his first school leaving certificate. For secondary education, Senator Issa Shoaibullah attended Murtala Muhammad College Yola from 1975 to 1980 for his West African School Certificate WASC. He was at the School of Basic Studies Zaria in 1980, from where he proceeded to the Ahmadu Bello University ABU, where he earned a bachelor's degree in engineering (B.Eng) in 1984. He joined politics and contested to the Senate in the 2015 general elections, but was denied victory. He contested this in court and won, and was eventually given his mandate. He contested again in the 2019 general election and won. In the Senate, he is Chairman Senate Committee on Public Procurement and a member of several other committees. His legislative interests include education, agriculture, and security, amongst other things.
This brings us to the end of this week's edition of Inside the Senate. Join us next week for another edition, and don't forget to communicate your questions and opinions via any of our feedback channels. See you next time, and thanks for watching.